Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joined today from the Fitchburg Police Department, our chief before the chief, our acting chief, Matt Laha. Matt, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you. How are you today, Jeremy?
I am doing wonderful now that
Right.
you're here, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But first, I just love the decorating of the office. It has to be pointed out that we've got a police hiring, the posters in the back. We've got a great animal back there, and now I just realized what that is. It's Matt. You know what you're doing here.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. You've
It's all
been in
about the
this.
presentation. It's about the
It
presentation.
is. It really is. I like it. So I appreciate you putting the effort forth there. We're going to discuss a few things. We're going to talk a little bit about the shots fired instances this past week. We've got the police hiring going on as well. We had a new hire of a police chief, and then talk a little bit about property crime. So a lot to get to in today's interview. We'll start with the shots fired incident. We had a few back-to-back instances this past week. Overall, Matt, from your background here and being with the police department, what happens behind the scenes? So we get these reports come in, and basically what is happening behind the scenes on that?
So I guess what the first thing that I think the public needs to take into consideration is at this point, there's no any indication that the incidents over the last month have been associated. That's probably going back all the way to September 8th. Throughout Dane County, we have gun violence is more often associated with persons than locations. So people, they'll encounter each other at varying locations throughout Dane County. So it's important to keep that in mind, that it's not this neighborhood or that neighborhood, it's where the 2 points intersect, and whatever individuals are having that conflict over each other. So with that in mind, obviously these types of incidents, gun violence, can erupt over multiple jurisdictions and also impacting multiple neighborhoods throughout those jurisdictions. So we understand the community's concern, their frustration, and they're more often than not random, but of course they can randomly put uninvolved community residents at risk. So there may be this perception that nothing is being done, but I can assure you that we're continuing to actively investigate all shots fired incidents to the fullest extent possible, of course. And it's also important to keep in mind that these types of incidents, because of the time of day, the location, they can take months to investigate. And that includes obtaining evidence, speaking to witnesses, locating suspects. And of course, those investigations are directly impacted by what type of evidence is available. If we have video surveillance in and around that area, as well as just the cooperation of who we believe are parties involved. And that can definitely impact the success or the length of those particular investigations. So I also want to reiterate that the Fitchburg Police Department, as well as the Madison Police Department, have attempted to go into a joint venture on a grant to partner with community stakeholders to hopefully prevent violence proactively instead of reactively, which is more often than not how we get involved in these incidents. So it's very important for the community, even if they hear shots fired, they should be calling the police department. I would much rather have our officers come out, investigate it, find out it's fireworks, than never hearing about it until 2 to 3 days later, and then it actually be a verified shots fired event. It can limit our ability to obtain evidence. It just makes the investigation that more difficult to get on top of, instead of just reacting 2 days later. So if they do see anything out of place, people out of place, something that looks like it's starting to escalate, do not hesitate to call the police, because we'd much rather step in prior to anybody getting hurt or some sort of uninvolved consequences from bystanders.
I appreciate the update, Matt. And quickly too, if you could, where can people submit tips to? So there's a lot of different ways to submit tips, submit anonymously. But where can people do that?
Well, of course, anybody can call 911. Of course, if they do see something or hear shots fired or see some sort of incident escalating. Otherwise, they can also call our non-emergency line at the Fitchburg Police Department, 608-270-4300. Otherwise, they can call Crime Stoppers. They can submit a tip anonymously online through our police department website. So they have varying degrees. Also are on our Facebook page as well. So.
All right, turning our attention to joining the team. We have a new police chief that's joining our team. Plus, we're looking for people to join our team. So first, just an update and congrats on a new hire of a police chief coming from the Police and Fire Commission. Tell us what's happening on that front.
So the other night at the Police and Fire Commission on Monday, I believe, the 27th of September, the Police and Fire Commission offered a formal position of police chief to former Milwaukee Chief of Police Alfonso Morales. So I think our department is eager to finally put the hiring process to bed and move forward with the new chief. Obviously, Alfonso does have some conditions to work through prior to his start date, and nothing has been formalized as of yet, but we're looking at him starting sooner rather than later.
All right, in the police department, we are looking to hire officers, whether you have experience or not have experience. We would love you to join our team.
Correct. That hiring process is set to close or the application process, I should say, set to close on October 10th. You can find out more information at fitchburgwi.gov in the employment section. We also have information on our police department Facebook page if you do have any questions. It does, like you did say, Jeremy, it does offer up a entry-level hiring process, and as well as we do have a lateral officer hiring process as well. So officers from other jurisdictions with certain levels of experience can come in at a higher level of pay, and as well as additional leave time. So that's a benefit to other officers with experience.
Fantastic. Finally, talking in the property crimes, you'd mentioned this to me, and I want to get it out there that we definitely share plenty of tips online and talk about it a lot. But you guys are actually willing to come out and speak to community groups and to share information related to anti-property theft.
Right. Any time that we can offer up any level of crime prevention tips. Property crime, it's one of those things that's out there. It's prevalent, but it's extremely preventable types of crimes. So we're doing our part from a department standpoint, having officers in the communities, trying to do those active patrols during those typical periods where property crimes do happen, such as overnight, making contact at residents, having them close their doors, identifying any suspicious activity. But you're absolutely right, Jeremy. If there is some sort of community group or neighborhood association that would like some more direct attention to their particular neighborhood through a meeting, to allow them the opportunities to ask questions of officers, what types of statistics or patterns are occurring in their neighborhoods, I highly encourage them to reach out to the police department. We definitely can make those arrangements, whether it's virtually, whether it's in person. We can definitely meet with them, to speak with them, try to provide them with some sort of information that makes them feel a little bit more comfortable, and just raise awareness of being a good neighbor. And if their neighbor's garage door is open or something suspicious is going on around their homes, to kind of open up those lines of communication between neighbors, because in the end, if you have a good neighbor or a good support system within the neighborhood, it can greatly reduce anything that a police officer driving through their neighborhood can do.
Absolutely. And we'll keep getting the message out for you as we do. And we appreciate your time and information, Matt. And thank you to everything you and the department is doing. Keep up the good work out there. And we'll look forward to checking back with the department next month.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
You bet. Matt Laha, you're acting police chief right now, and we appreciate his time and effort meeting with us here and sharing the information. We'll take a break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.